As the police officer was carrying out his duties on a sunny Tuesday morning, he became aware that people were gesturing towards him, with some wearing broad smiles as they looked in his direction. He pondered on the unusual reaction he was receiving, as it was not typical for him. What could have caused it? As he turned around, his heart began to race at the sight before him. When one thinks of the streets of Los Angeles, visions of classic Hollywood allure come to mind, with palm trees gently swaying in the breeze and an abundance of sunshine. Being one of the most densely populated cities in the United States, it is not uncommon to find bustling streets teeming with people and occasional animals. While many of these animals are cherished pets, a few may be strays. Fortunately, most lost pets are typically reunited with their owners within a few days. Nonetheless, a few of the homeless animals end up in animal shelters where they must await adoption. Although most animals do not have the luxury of selecting their owners, the central character in this tale happens to be one fortunate canine. This courageous pup walked up to a police officer and asked to be adopted, but would his wish be granted? On a bustling Tuesday morning, Officer Mercado of the Los Angeles Police Department was required to commence his patrol earlier than usual. It also happened to be his birthday, which had him in a euphoric state as he readied himself for duty. He went to work with a big smile on his face, and when his colleagues showed him the gifts they had got for him, he went nuts with excitement. Before leaving home, Ricardo's family had also surprised him. His wife and kids had woken him up with a birthday song and read out heartwarming, handwritten letters for him, and now that he got to work, his colleagues also surprised him with gift. Well, if that's not a perfect morning, I don't know what is. What more could you ask for? Am I right? Ricardo also thought the surprises were over. Little did he know his day was just about to get eventful. When it was finally time to go out to patrol the street, Ricardo was joined by his colleague, Tavera. The two got into the patrol car and drove out of the LAPD building into the streets. The morning was quite stress-free as there were no signs of criminal activities and they didn't get any calls for help, but soon enough, these police officers would get pretty busy. When they got to Hobart Boulevard Street, they came out of the van and started patrolling the peaceful neighborhood. For the first few minutes, there was nothing unusual as passers-by walked past the police officers. Only a few of them cared to greet them, but all of a sudden things changed. People started staring at Ricardo, some even stopped what they were doing and started looking in his direction. The policeman also noticed that people were smiling at him, and some were pointing at him what could be so amusing he wondered. Just then Ricardo turned around, and that was when he finally understood why everyone was staring at him. Just a few meters away from him was a puppy, a seemingly lost but happy one. Seeing the animal wagging his tail and following him, Ricardo let out a hearty smile, and the onlookers cheered. Ricardo crouched and gently caressed the animal. "You're such a sweet boy," he said. Then he looked around, hoping that someone amongst the onlookers would come forward as the owner of the adorable pup, but no one did. Ricardo even asked if anyone knew the puppy's owner, but no one did. However, some people claimed they had seen the pup once or twice around. With that, it dawned on the police officer that the pup was a stray. Ricardo couldn't believe such a sweet dog was living off the streets. As Ricardo went on with his job and patrolled the streets, the energetic pup kept following him. At intervals, Ricardo would crouch beside the pup and caress him, and the furry animal would lick his fingers. It was such a lovely sight to behold, and Ricardo's partner enjoyed every bit. Wouldn't you feel out of this world if an animal as sweet as this pup were to follow you around? When the pup still wouldn't leave, Tavera couldn't hold herself any longer, and she knew she had to share such a beautiful interaction with the world. So she got out her phone and took pictures of Ricardo and the pup. She also made a video. Then she uploaded them on the LAPD social media accounts. And boy, within a few minutes the comment section was buzzing like crazy. Everyone wanted to know what would become of the sweet dog, and Tavera promised to update them. Just then, Tavera suggested that they give the dog a name. After pondering for a while, the duo named him Hobart after the street where they found him. The police officers started calling him by his new name, and the pup, who was quite intelligent, seemed to respond to their call. As the patrol shift started drawing to a close, the police officers, especially Mercado, became dejected. They knew it was almost time to bid the pup goodbye, but when they returned to their patrol car and it was time to zoom off, they both knew they couldn't leave the dog behind. Besides, Hobart started running around the car as if he wanted to ride with them. It was clear that this pup was hell-bent on going with Mercado wherever he went. But did the police officer feel the same way? Feeling responsible for the poor animal, Mercado helped him into the car, and Hobart rushed to the front seat. The dog seemed very comfortable in the car, as if he had been in it many times before. When they got to the police station, the officers left Hobart with their colleagues, and they went ahead to do some research on the puppy soon enough. They were disappointed to learn that the sweet creature had owners that had abandoned him. Unfortunately, animal homelessness is still a big problem in the U.S. Approximately 17 million stray animals are living in the U.S. Sadly, only a small percentage end up being put into a shelter, and the rest of them are left to fend for themselves on the streets. Although it hurt Mercado to let Hobart go, he had to make the painful decision to take Hobart to an animal shelter where he would receive adequate care and love. Mercado put Hobart back into his police car and he drove to a nearby shelter, but this time around Hobart wasn't playful. It was as if he could tell that his new friend was leaving him. When they got to the Ghetto Rescue Foundation, the staff quickly warmed up to the dog. Of course, they were charmed by his sweet nature. After Mercado left the shelter, Hobart was foremost in his mind. Even though they had only been acquainted for a few hours, he found himself worrying about the dog. Would he adjust well in the shelter? Would his next family love him and treat him right? The thoughts of the sweet pup kept Mercado up all night. So, a few days after he dropped Hobart off the shelter, Mercado got into his car and drove back to the shelter. When he got there, the staff immediately knew he had come for Hobart, and they took him straight to the dog's cage. When Hobart, who had already started to become less playful, saw Mercado, he suddenly jumped up in excitement. When the staff opened his cage, he ran towards Mercado and started licking his feet, fighting back joyful tears. The police officer, who had already decided to adopt the pup, carried him in his arms and said, "It's time to go home." The staff were happy and Hobart himself was over the moon. After the adoption, Hobart became part of Mercado's family. Hobart was adored not only by his wife and children, but also by his colleagues, who also developed a fondness for the fluffy creature. It is not uncommon for dogs to become mascots or emotional support animals in workplaces. As such, the team bantered about Hobart potentially joining their canine units. The police unit made a post on Twitter to welcome Hobart to the LAPD, and also updated their followers on the dog's adoption. A lot of their followers had inquired about Hobart's whereabouts, but they were pleased to report that Officer Mercado had taken him in, and that Hobart was now leading a blissful life with Mercado and his family. It brings me great joy that this puppy has found a permanent and loving home. Such an uplifting and inspiring story. In times like these, the world needs to turn its attention towards tales of hope and good fortune, with endings that are both cheerful and heartwarming. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.